All right, I have
Mm,
started the recording.
mm, yeah. So let me just turn on my video. Hello everyone. Very good morning, and thanks for joining on this Sunday
Good morning, sir.
morning. Morning.
Mhm.
Let me share my Google Chrome. Okay. Allow. Cool. So before doing all these slides, I will just ask you a few questions. Who all like you are in which year or are you working? Can you just quickly introduce yourself so that I know how much you know? I know, then I can curate the content based on that. Yes, anyone? Please introduce yourself. Are you from engineering or from, are you working professional? Okay, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm a working professional, having an experience of around 2 years. Basically, I would say I've worked a lot with front end only, and right now also I'm working on a front end.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I am assuming others are also knowing front end. So have you ever heard about, let's say I ask one question, core web vitals? Have you ever heard about it?
Yes, sir, I have heard about it. Basically, we get
And what
yeah,
about others? Yeah, please continue.
yes, sir. Actually, these points we get from
Got
the
it.
page speed insights, right?
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Others like Chanakya, Phil, Balvardhan, Chandani. Have you heard about these terms before? If not, you will learn. If yes, you will learn more. Yes. Chanak, you're trying to speak something? Cool. Let me begin with the session. So, first of all, before tackling the web performance and all, a quick introduction about me. So, I am myself Ankit, and I work as a SD2 in front-end domain in Flipkart. I have been with Flipkart since past 3.5 years. Prior to that, I had around 2 years of experience, 1.5 years of experience with other product-based startup. And in the Flipkart, I'm working in their web core platform team. So whatever you see on the Flipkart.com website and desktop, whenever you open Flipkart.com in browser, it's web performance, it's SEO, it's node server and all those things. I'm part of that team and I work in that team. So coming to the point of web performance, first question you should ask yourself, whether are you aware what all things happen when you type any website, let's say flipkart.com or maybe amazon.in or maybe any other your personal website. When you type in the search address of the mobile your browser, what happens behind the scenes? Is that image clear? If not, okay, let's try to understand with me together. So first thing, let's understand by analogy. Let's say you want to meet any of your friend. What is the thing you should know? You should know his address, right? So similarly, if you want to open any website, you should know where the website is located. Agreed? And to know where the website is located, we should know it's the server where the website is running, its IP address. IP address. So every like the we have physical addresses in internet, everything address is IP address. We have some 2.3.4 dot some IP addresses. Okay. So now how to get the IP address is the first question. Before your browser actually shows you the website, it should first get the address from where the HTML response of that website will come. Who gives us the address? Anyone aware of? The system is DNS, domain name resolver. So what it does, it's like a phone book of internet. Every domain has some IP address mapped to it. So if you type, let's say flipkart.com, there is some domain provider and they had mapped the in their A name record the IP address for that domain. So if I open flipkart.com or let's say abc.com, there should be some IP address for that domain and which gives us the DNS system gives us the IP address. So okay, now first thing done. We got the IP address, we got the address of the server where the browser should send the HTTPS request to get what? The HTML. First thing is done. Now, second thing, it should be secure, right? We should establish some connection, which is called Transport Layer Protocol, TCP connection. And it should be secure. That's why it is called Transport Layer Secure, TLS connection. These three things are done. Then finally, browser sends a request to get the HTML. So till now, what happened? Four steps happen, and there are many more steps. Why it is important to know all the steps? Because if we know all the steps what are happening, then we know which problem to tackle. Let's say someone says your website is slow. So first question which should come to our mind, ki, okay, what is slow in the website? In general, website is slow. That can be a very vague thing. But website have to be slow. Then there means there can be many factors contributing. So we have to first break down the problem. What problem is causing how much impact? And to know the problem, first we should know what happens from start to end till user sees the website, the HTML on his phone, and till from until you start the typing the address, what happens? So we understood DNS, we get the address, then a TCP and as a TLS connection is being made, and then finally browser gives sends a request and we get the HTML. Now let me share my screen. Uh, this context is set. Now we will go through all the slides and all. Let me quickly share the screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Screen is visible, but it is not highlighted in green. You are seeing which tab? Is it an empty tab?
Yeah, console is being open.
Okay, cool. So let's move to now DNS thing. Um, Now you are seeing the DNS slide, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Let me just minimize this. So why DNS matters? I took an example of Shopify where they had done some DNS optimization and their revenue had increased a lot. By the way, first, before going to this, let's open Flipkart.com and see what are the things happening behind the scene. Let me value. Let me remove the dark mode so that you see properly. Yes, let's go to the document request which happened first. And this is Flipkart.com. What is the IP address? This is the IP address. Yes, it is not one-to-one. You might get different IP address because behind the scene there are multiple things happening, load balancer and all. The important thing is I wanted to show you these few things which happen actually before the request is being sent. First, see DNS lookup happened, which took almost 30 nano, I think, microseconds. The reason is I have options in my browser, and that's why the DNS has been served from the cache. We will actually see how the cache is being we can access. And after DNS is we get the IP address from the DNS lookup. Then we create a TCP connection, which is the initial connection, and it took around some 56 ms. And the SSL, the secure layer, because it should be very secure, right? That is being done using SSL connection, and it took around 33 ms. Now, let's say if someone says, okay, the website is slow, what you should have in mind, okay, you should have these numbers in your mind. Okay, okay, hey, show me how much your website is having DNS lookup time, how much time it takes to create a TCP connection, how much time your SSL time is there. All this timing you should know. And to understand that, you should know all these concepts also. And then finally, the request is being sent. And it is waiting for almost around 500 ms for the server response. So that means 500 ms, the Flipkart server was busy. And after that, it sends the first byte. And here marks the one of the metric in Web Vitals, which is time taken for first byte, which is TTFP. And after that, the HTML has been downloaded. So if I show you here, my HTML is almost how much? What is the size HTML? Let me just make it smaller rows. You can see the size, right? How much is the size? Can someone read for me? So it's around 200 KB. But when was my TTFB triggered? As soon as I got the first byte from the server, the TTFB gets triggered. So let's say I make the performance network slow 3G and I do hard to reload. So here you see it is downloading in parallel the HTML. It took around 1.92 seconds to download the HTML because 200 KB is downloaded over internet and the network is very slow. But the response got earlier and the TTFB occurred. So we will try to understand in depth later. So DNS thing, I just wanted to quickly explain you. So how DNS resolution works. So first browser will check in its local cache, then in its system level cache means the computer which you're using. And then there will be a router cache also, the Wi-Fi provider and all which you're using. And then the internet. So let's say I'm using Geo Wi-Fi. So my internet provider is Geo's. So in their server, they will see whether DNS is cached. And then at uh, upper level is there. And then at the last, from where we have taken the domain. From there, we get the IP address. And if you want to know from where any site has taken the domain, there is a very nice website called whois.com. Let's type here. Maybe I will just take example of my one of my website which I have created and it is live, which gets almost daily active users of 100. So who is this? So it tells you every information. So the site has been taken from godaddy.com and these are their name servers, the IP address who are providing. So you can use this site, very cool site. You can enter any domain and you can get all the information. Now let's move ahead quickly. I will skip for this. And then why DNS matters, I told you, because if your DNS itself is slow, nothing will start. We should get the IP address of the website, or else I can't even make an actual request. So that's why it is very important. Abhay, you have any doubts?
No, sir, no. Actually,
Okay. Okay, cool. And then we understood browsers cached, macro, and actually you can see the whether DNS is cached or not. You can go to your browser and type, let's say, Flipkart.com, and I see lookup. It is able to resolve the IP address very quickly, right? And let's say I try clearing the host cache and see if now how much time it takes, or maybe some other website which I have not visited on this laptop. Uh, any random, maybe you want to give an example of website?
Let's say crackcode.in, CRAKCODE. If you have not
C R A C
A
R A
K C O D E.
dot in, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think I would have visited. So that's why these are being in the cache. And ideally, um, but yeah, my whole point was you should understand ki if you have already visited a website, why sometimes it opens faster and all. There are many factors. One of the reason is the DNS has already been cached in the browser. And then it comes to your system also. And then after that, it goes to your IP router and 6 steps are there. I will just quickly walk through. By the way, all this slide, I take one hour or more for each topic, for DNS, for TTFB, for FCP, for LCP. So I have to justify in some 30 minutes. So I will be very little bit fast. My whole point is I want to spark the curiosity in all of you to understand the things behind the scene. And then you can understand more and maybe later we can take very specific, let's say TTFB or maybe DNS session.
yes.
So now what are the DNS optimization techniques? So one thing which is very common and people use the DNS prefetch. So it will, as soon as the website loads, let's say I'm using flipkart.com and if you observe, there are multiple domains here. One is some flixkart.com. Then there will be some where for the image, there is a different thing which is rukmani.flix.com, right? So we are having different domains, right? Now each domain creates its own. First time when we are trying to connect, it will create whole process. DNS resolve will happen, TCP SLS connection will TLS connection will happen, those things. So we can avoid that. Matlab we can improve it by prefetching the IP address. There is also pre-connect, which does all of the three things: DNS plus TCP plus SSL. Then all this thing you can add just a link tag and you can do type this property attribute relay REN and then give the value pre-connect. Now you should reduce the domains on your website. If you're having different domains, each domain, since it will create all the connections from start, you should try to reduce it and have as less domain as possible. For example, let's say if I'm using crackcode.in, so I should use as less different domains because each domain creates its own. TCP, IP, DNS, and all those things. And yes, we should have fast DNS provider. One of them is Cloudflare, and there is one more which Flipkart is using, and I am pretty sure it will be. I mean, it is costly, and all those things happen. So it is Ultra DNS server, which is premium for used, which is used by Fortune 500 companies. Maybe let's see what Amazon uses. Amazon is using something on its own. Maybe let's see. Crack. CRAK.
Enter.
CRE. Okay. CRA.
Okay.
Okay. CrakCode.in. So this is different, right? What I'm getting here.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is different because they had registered, I think, 2020. Let's see about CrakCode. So you get all the information. So this CrakCode was registered on, correct me if I'm wrong, if this data is wrong, it was registered on 2024, means I think previous year in month of June. Is it correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, and we are using GoDaddy as for our domain. And to buy the domain, we have used GoDaddy. And it is similar to how I am doing ISKCON Sarjapur Road. So we didn't change the DNS mapping. Whatever GoDaddy is giving, I think we have used same. But these things we can do. So actually, we should log how much time DNS is taking to improve the performance. And we will walk through how those things will be done. TCP SSL, I talked. There was one thing which we did with SSL TLS connection. I will just tell you. So what happens in a normal TLS 1.2 is there is a three-way handshake happening. Hey, nice to see you, Tarun. I think you can turn on your video. I prefer people turning on their video. That is far more engaging. Everyone can turn on their video. Thanks. So in TLS 3, what happens? I think 1.2 and then came 1.3, TLS V 1.2, 1.3. So we were previously using 1.2. There are three-way handshake happening. First, client sends to server, okay, some request is sending. Then server responds with, okay, this is good. Then client, okay, assumes, okay, now everything is fine. So three-way communication happens. And we change it to TLS 1.3, where it got reduced to only, previously there were 2 round trips, now only 1 round trip is happening, which could lead to us almost 50% DNS. I mean, the whole overall connection time it reduced, and our revenue has improved. For professional official numbers, definitely I can't disclose, but we had seen a good increase in the revenue. So these things are very small things, right? I didn't even code anything, but very small things, and they improve a lot. So TLS 1.3 reduces your DNS time by 50%. I mean, the overall connection time, which will be the TCP and TLS connection. Let's move ahead quickly. Okay, fine. This is the thing which I was talking. You should monitor your DNS time, how much your website is taking. I will add in my personal website also. 1 second. Okay, I will add in my personal website also how much time actually everyone is facing to get the IP address from the DNS system. And then we can log, and then actually we can change our DNS provider. Let's say my DNS provider is from normal GoDaddy. I changed to Cloudflare, I changed to Ultra DNS, all those things. Real world, how to find DNS, we understood DNS benchmark. All this thing I will cover maybe in depth later. Now DNS is clear, okay? Everyone is clear about DNS and TCP and TLS connection. Now you have got the first byte from the server. What is that? Whenever I get the first byte, what is that instant called? What is that metric? Can someone quickly say?
TTFP.
TTFB. Awesome, awesome, Abhay. So let's now go to TTFB. So we have understood before TTFB what happened. Now we will understand quickly what is TTFB and how we can improve TTFB. And then after that, the whole website is being shown. So like this, so many things happen. What is TTFB? So TTFB time will take all this thing. It will take your DNS, how much time it took for DNS lookup, how much time it took to establish a TCP connection, to create a SSL handshake, and then how much time your actual server took to respond. We covered above 3 points. I will cover now the server side thing. Let's take an example. Your server is very slow. The reason can be many things. We don't want to buy huge servers because we have taken free version, let's say on Google Cloud. That could be one reason your server is not strong. Another reason could be you're doing multiple computations on your server. You're doing heavy computation on your server, and that's why whenever you start the website, initially load the website, your server is so much busy, it is not able to respond with the HTML in apt time. That could be one of the reason why your TTFB highs. And multiple other reasons. Let's say your server is small and you're getting too much request on it. Your server can get choked. Actually, we are doing NFR. Like from today, the black sale will start, right? So I can't disclose the numbers, but we are running our NFR, which is non-functional requirement on our node servers. The .com, which you see the homepage and all server-side admin pages. We simulate heavy traffic and we are seeing the CPU is throttling, memory consumption is happening. All those things lead to less higher response time. So, and one more major important thing which I want to highlight between TTFB and HTML downloading. Many people assume that once I get the whole HTML from my website, the server, that is the moment when TTFB is triggered. That is not the case. As soon as your server responds with first byte of the HTML or maybe some cookie, at that moment itself, the TTFB gets triggered. HTML downloads later because it depends on this network also. So if someone says slow network can lead to higher TTFB and say ki your HTML size can impact TTFB, I will say the HTML size will not impact your TTFB much. It is how fast your server responds because HTML will download in parallel, Chrome will do it. So that was one difference which many people get confused. So I've written also first time until first byte arrives and time until all HTML receives. One second. Let me out. Someone not able to see the controls. Mhm.
Yeah, Ankit, do you need any help?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Yeah, cool. Now let's just quickly walk through whatever we learned. Domain, all these things we learned. So SSL, HTTP request, server response time, these things we learned. How to measure TTFB? You can use the web performance API. For every metric, TTFB, FCP, LCP, there is a performance observer API which is given in the JavaScript itself, and it gives all the entries. So you can use those things. What causes slow TTFB? We discussed. There are multiple things. Someday we will go much more deeper. Database, all these things is fine. Caching strategies, monitoring tools. TTFB, we use Neuralink and all. Many companies use Datadog, but majority of companies I've seen use Neuralink, and there is Facebook Insights, which Abhay mentioned, which tells you the TTFB thing also. For example, if I use open Facebook Insights and see Flipkart.com, we can see the status. And yes, so TTFB is complete. Now I will move to two other metrics and then I will take a pause and the other speaker can continue. So till now, what we understood, can someone quickly summarize for me? Abhay, Akhil, Chanakya, Chandani, Harshad.
Maybe they are not nodding down, they are just only listening.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. No
So,
problem. So I will just give you a hint. I will open Flipkart.com here. Why I'm taking Flipkart.com example? Because I'm working in that, so I will take its example. So let's say I have opened Flipkart.com here and we will see the document request. Now I've given you the hint. So till now what we have covered. So
Yeah,
we covered
so
first.
I think
Yeah.
we have covered till that content download right now. So
Awesome.
the
Awesome. Awesome.
contentful
Very good.
paint. Maybe the contentful paint is not yet discussed, but
Right. Right.
would you like to
Right.
discuss something on the paint also?
Yes, yes. Those two metrics will come later, the FCP and LCP. First contentful paint, and then there is largest contentful paint. Those are something which is shown to the user. But before actually user sees the website, many things happen in web performance. So it's like the tip of the iceberg, right? But below there is a very big iceberg which is not visible to users. Similarly, web performance, many things happen behind the scenes just before actually user sees something. So now let's move ahead to our FCP metric, which is first contentful paint. So the name is itself very um, conveying, right? What is that? First contentful paint. What is the first meaningful paint your website date, that is marked as FCP. It can be a simple loader also,
Yes.
right? Or it can be, in case of server-side rendered page, the FCP will be probably as soon as your website is being shown, because SSR gives you whole HTML. What I mean by SSR is, I will just give you a very good tip. Maybe CrakCode only, let's open for now. I haven't tried this demo. I'm just doing it right in front of you all. So now this is the CrakCode's homepage, okay? Let's see whether it is SSR. What I mean SSR be whether the HTML is being rendered on the browser or whether it's being rendered on the server. So there is a command shift P, and you can disable the JavaScript. Let's see without JavaScript is our website rendering properly. And I refresh. So without JavaScript, we are seeing this, right? So let's now take example of Flipkart.com. I will disable the JavaScript and I will now refresh the page. What did you see? Were you able to see almost similar content? The reason is there are multiple reasons to this. If I take it again a 1 hour concept, there comes SEO and all. So when Google bots crawl your website, for them, the JavaScript, if it is with rendering without JavaScript, that is given more priority. And the content, it can parse it and it can show in the Google search results. For example, let's say I have built a website which is iskonsurjapurroad.com, right? So for me, it is very important. This website is very discoverable to users, right? So if I disable the JavaScript now and I refresh, you see the whole website is loading as it is. Nothing is changed. All website I can see. So when Google crawlers crawl my website, they will see, okay, this is the address, this is the schedule. And let's say when people search for it, they will get in the search results my website. My ranking will be up. And which indirectly will lead to higher conversions, right? People will click more on your website, they will visit more your all those things. So any company does try to do the same with Flipkart, Amazon. So now that is clear. So FCP metric, I will just quickly go down. It was a bit tangent topic, but since someone asked, let's say. There is something called critical rendering path. There is something called critical rendering path here. So first, when you get the HTML from the server, what I mean HTML from the server, let's go to network tab, open the doc, and let's go to response. This is the HTML which my Flipkart server gave. If you want to see it, there is a very nice tool called HTML Viewer. And you can paste the response which the server returned, and let's see what it renders. It renders the actual website, right? And now let's go to CrakCode, and we can go to we can see what is the response which we got, which was something like this. And let's go to HTML Viewer, and let's see what is the response. It is showing me this logo, right? So there is a clear difference. So that's how you can get to know what is the actual HTML response which server returned. Now let's move ahead to, I will try to wrap around in 10 minutes because I have another like schedule for 11. So DOM construction happened, the DOM tree is created, then CSS also gets parsed and a CSS OM is created, CSS object model. Then both are combined to create a render tree. Imagine like a tree. And then the layout happens, the painting and all happens. Actually, this is very in-depth topic. I should ideally explain it by all the example, but I had created multiple examples, but if I take it, it will take a lot of time. Maybe sometime else, Tarun, we can plan a deeper session. I had created a simulation also. What happens when there is a slow CSS, how much time it takes for the CSS OM and all those things to happen. So you should try to measure all those things in your website. Let's see how we can improve the FCP. The render blocking resources should not be there. What I mean by render blocking resources, the CSS in your website. Browser waits for your CSS to be downloaded and executed. Until CSS is not being downloaded and executed, not a single HTML will be shown. Why? The reason is very simple. CSS has the capability or ability to modify your HTML. So browser feels okay, till my CSS is not downloaded, I can't show the HTML, and that's why it will break. That's why it is called render blocking resources. It blocks the render. So your CSS, so we had faced a production problem, and we tried to inline the CSS instead of making the new request. For example, if I go to ISKCON Sarjapur Road, I had taken care of all these things. Ideally, there is only one CSS, which is the Google APIs. All my CSS, I had inlined it. The reason was I wanted to make I didn't want to have the render blocking resource at all. So I didn't make any other separate request. I was down inlining all the CSS except this Google because I can't do this. I tried, but it was not happening. So it actually downloads the fonts, whatever fonts I'm using. Only this is the CSS which is being downloaded. And actually, you can see all those things if I just do a hard reload here. You can see here, this is a very nice tool, performance panel. You should go down, you should explore it. In the past, in the LCP breakdown, you can see LCP I will come to later. Let's say, yeah, it shows about it doesn't show much about FCP, but okay, I will cover it later. But that was render blocking resource. How you can measure the FCP? Same, you have performance observer, but in production, people use the Web Vitals library of Google. So that is advisable. Then later, I think I am done with FCP. Now I will quickly cover the LCP. So now first contentful happened. Now what will be the largest contentful paint? That is the last metric which is important. After that, then comes the interactivity metric, which is interaction to next print, those metric. Let's take it by example. Let's open the website which I have created and let's see what is the LCP image. It will, let's over on the LCP. Zoom out a little bit. This is the LCP metric got triggered at around 141 ms. And it is telling me which actually element is the LCP. Can someone tell me after seeing this website what could be the largest contentful paint here?
Should be the hero section, the background,
The, excuse me?
the image, I think.
Yes, the image. So it actually click, you can click here and you can see what is the LCP element. And it shows, okay, this is my LCP element. And you can actually see how now the way I told, right, there is DNS, TCP, TLS, TTFP, then FCP, then LCP. Similarly, within LCP, there are many other metrics which happen. Let's go bit down. Timing breakdown. This is very important to understand. People just understand what is LCP, but behind LCP, there are four things happening. First is your TTFB, which is what we understood. After that, how much time your browser took to identify your largest contentful paint element and to start the download of it. That is the discovery part. Then comes the concept which people have, right? How my image is big, it's a slow network. All those things is covered in resource load time. But this is not the only thing which contributes to LCP. There are four other metrics and each have the weightage also. If I show you PageSpeed Insights example, let me go to LCP. Actually, currently, I think because of heavy traffic for Googlebot, we are showing ARIA human. But for me, it should be, if I go to this thing, it should be, sorry?
It's like Big Billion Day. That's why, very high traffic is going on Flipkart.
Actually, we internally simulate traffic. So I think probably we had done few days some X of request on usual days also. So we were trying to simulate it, how it will be during BBD.
All right. Maybe we
So
would
probably
like to learn from you as well someday ki how you guys, do on especially Big
all those
Billion Day.
things.
The traffics are high.
Yeah, it is crazy. So every night
Yeah,
since one
sure,
month,
sir.
we are awake from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m., 6 a.m. We are in office. And it's hectic, but yes, it's amazing. I love you learn a lot.
And still you chose to share this
Uh,
knowledge with us. Thanks a lot, Ankit.
yeah, I feel knowledge sharing is very important. And it should not be with just only thing, it should not be misused. And I personally never pirate anything. Whatever I have taken, I buy subscription. I have taken many subscription of many other courses. If I just to mention, there is a very good person in React. His name is um, I'm not remembering, but the website is Epic React. So those things. If I tell, there are many other things. So I one more thing which I share, but I don't believe in privacy and all piracy. You should buy the subscription. You should actually let the author of the content feel he is also given something in return, right? Or else if anyone just pirates, then he might lose his interest okay, why should I do all those things, right? If end of the day, money does matters, by the way. No one is doing anything for free, right? It's the it's the hard reality. But yeah, let's that was a tangent topic. But since you said Kia, I'm sharing. So yeah, let's move ahead. By the way, all this knowledge I have gained since past 3 years. So that is now in summarize in 40 minutes. So it's tough to justify, but yes, I will. So LCP, the good thing when I understood this, there are four things which actually contribute to LCP. The one is TTFD, we understood. And then one is the resource load delay. How much time your browser took to identify the LCP element and start the download. And then actually there is resource load time and then there is element render time. Once you get the resource, how much time the browser took to actually paint the image. Four things are happening behind this. Let's quickly go one by one. How we same, you can use performance observer. You can go to search for performance observer. You will understand these things. What you will get from the site, I will not much cover. I just want to cover the mental model. Mental model is very important while learning anything. So let's focus on each of the things. So I will cover on what can improve your TTFD. So this we already know. We should improve high, good server, lesser optimization, lesser computation. We can do caching also. Then CDN implementation we can do for what? Our images. Let's say our images, I'm using GCP and I'm using GCP and my image is getting downloaded from America and my user is in Bangalore. It doesn't justify, right? What I can do, I can use the CDN, which will give me all my users the image from some nearest location. Let's say Bangalore. The CDN might be in Mumbai and it will serve from Mumbai so that load time will reduce. Okay. And before coming to load time, how can I tell my browser to, okay, download this image as fast as possible? I mean, start the download as quickly as possible. So this is very simple and it gets good impact. The preload attribute given by HTML. You can actually do a preload and this will download as soon as the response comes right from the server. It starts the downloading and gives a high priority. So if I show you this image, let's say here if I go to all, and you can see there is something called fetch priority. Here you see priority. So this is the browser determining what priority each request will be getting. Flipkart.com, and there is one CSS file which is given the highest priority. Then these are some SVG which is low. Now this is my probability element. You see this is delivered, this is shown as high and browser will prioritize its downloading. So that's how you can reduce the resource exploration discovery time. What is that called? Resource load delay. One is load delay and one is load time. Let's move ahead. Yes, there is again a very good, this separate topic. How your website performs when you're first time opening and when you're second time opening. In second time when you're opening, all those caching and all should be there. If it is not, that means you should work on it. So there is first visit user or first time user, and then there is repeat visit user, right? So for repeat visit users, everything should be sent from the cache until it has not changed if their hash has not changed. And okay, one more thing I want to talk about image. So let's say I have same code base and my website is being served on mobile and desktop. Real life example. I have different images. So I don't want a higher quality image to be downloaded on my mobile side because on mobile side people are usually using internet, not Wi-Fi. But on your laptop, you should mostly people use Wi-Fi and all they are having good network. So on mobile side, I will download for them a lower quality image, a lower resolution image, or maybe a lower aspect ratio height and width. So you can use the picture tag, which is given by HTML itself. This picture tag, you can specify, okay, if my viewport width is here, I think I mentioned, yeah. If my viewport width is, let's say, 400 width, which will be mostly mobile device, download this different image. If it is 800 width, download a different image. And if it is desktop, then download a different image. By this way, you can actually not serve high quality image to mobile users and not serve low quality to desktop users. All those things. And just pixel doesn't make sense here. There is something advanced concept called device pixel ratio. So let's say I'm using iPhone. iPhone, if you observe, the resolution is very good. Let's say you are S24, Samsung S24. The resolution is very high. So that means if let's say I'm writing CSS as 1 pixel, but actually behind 1 pixel there might be again 3 pixels involved physically, due to which they are getting high resolution. So that whole concept is called device pixel ratio. I have mentioned here. Yeah. So let's say I'm on iPhone 12. Actually, I'm on iPhone 12, and I will upgrade today. I will, let's say on PPT, I will take the new phone after 5 years. So now I'm on iPhone 12, and I will my viewport width is 390. It's smaller, so 390 pixel. But actually, it will translate to 1170 because 390 into 3 if I do, because my DPR of iPhone 12 will be 3. So it should be around 1200 pixel. So now if I specify here 1200 pixel, actually my desktop quality image will be downloaded for Safari. I mean for iPhone. So that is a tricky part, and that can be optimized. Matlab, you have to take care of DPR also. Many people don't know this. Actually, I also learned some like few months back only. So just sharing. And this is being done. And now mostly there are other attributes like loading mirror and all that is there. And then comes SSR. Yes, definitely SSR helps in improving the FCP and LCP, but it can delay your IMP metric. We will talk about it later. Font loading, JavaScript. Yeah, you should lazy load your bundles. So if let's say your homepage is having 10 widgets and all 10 widgets JavaScript you are being serving to the user, but actually for all users, let's say 50% of users only see 5 widgets. Until they don't scroll, they are not seeing the below the fold page, right? So why are you serving that JavaScript? Many people don't scroll the website, they just open, see, and go back. Only when you scroll, you should load the widgets, kind of that optimization you can do. So that is lazy loading. Similarly, let's say I'm having different pages. I should not load all pages JavaScript on my homepage. So those things are there. Business impact, obviously I can't disclose Flipkart's number, but I have done SSR migration to one of my project, and it has give very good impact. The conversion metric had increased, the bounce rate had reduced. So what I mean by conversion, how many people come to your website and do actually go ahead or maybe purchase. And what do I mean by bounce rate is I open up any website and I quickly leave it in some span of time. So those are the things. And yes, I should always track your everything. So any doubts, I will stop exactly at 10:50 am.
I think that's very helpful for me, especially I'm, coming from a mobile background and seeing your like, content,
Yeah.
especially that many matrices. I usually ask him to, you make some optimizations, but that optimization to that level, I was also not aware about it for sure. But yeah, thanks a lot, Ankit, for sharing. I think we'll need more sessions since we are running out of time as well, and we have more sessions as well. So I'll ping you for sure again.
Yeah, I'm super occupied. Office, then teaching, then all these things and everything. It's literally yes. But I will, if any help needed in CrakCode, definitely I will help. I think Abhay is there with CrakCode since long time. I can suggest what are the issues in the website and he can fix it.
Yeah, sure, definitely. And I would suggest also you to keep, especially, keep giving this knowledge on CrakCode by, just giving some slots of or mentioning that card
Yeah,
performance in one-on-one sessions so that people would come to you and learn a lot from you, because this is knowledge only can be gained by working on the real world project, by
true.
optimizing more and more. Like the people who work on
Yes,
real project can understand this is not something which you can learn. This is something which can only be gained by doing more and more optimizations, especially in companies like Flipkart, Amazon.
very true. Very true. It performance is heavily so. I can't, like, it is very heavily emphasized, and I will just tell you one of the things which was so there is SEO thing, right?
Yes.
So actually, I will just show you how SEO matters for your performance. This is my website's metrics, the one which I use. So during Janmashtami, it had increased a lot because I had run a Google ad. So if you go to core web vitals, and this is your core web vitals metric for my page, and if you see till around 25th of August, there were all URL need improvement.
Mhm.
Suddenly now everything got reduced to zero. And now this is the real world problem. And how I fixed it, I will just quickly tell you. So this is the LCP element which you're seeing, right? Previously, what I was doing, I was actually downloading that image and then showing it. Now what I did a better way is in the HTML response itself, I am sending that image, and actually that image is very less because it's pixelated for mobile device. It's around 10 KB.
Mhm.
So overall, whole my resource load delay got eliminated. My resource load time got eliminated, and now only the render time is there. So now only render time and the TTFB is mattering for the LCP element. And it then totally reduced my bad URLs to zero. So now you see everything is green. So this is how you can actually create those websites and do things. I think for a CrakCode also I can help in all these things. Matlab. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, thanks a lot, Ankit. That would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
okay. Thanks everyone. I
Thank
think there
you.
is a second session that Tarun, up to you. You
Sure.
can continue. Yeah,
Sure.
I will drop actually. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ankit, for your
Thanks, Ankit.
session.
Thank
Thanks.
you, sir. Thank you for the time.
Thanks a lot, Ankit.
Thank you, sir.
So I think the next is yeah, basically Akhil, who will be sharing his roadmap. I'm not sure after looking at the performances, and however it should be vice versa. First roadmap, then it should come to the
Yeah.
complex part, right? And however Ankit had to go, so that's why we are having this session at the second. But trust me, it's also going to be very useful sessions because Akhil will be sharing his journey or sharing how to go for a roadmap to full stack because he's already working with Microsoft, right? The reason is so many people, who are working with, like companies not able to get good salaries, right? The only differences is, I have also seen that because I have seen the major transition. So the differences in the mindset, differences in the try as well, differences in, choosing the different path. So I think Akhil will definitely help every one of us see how to do that. So Akhil, yeah, now up to you. It's our
Yeah. Sure. Thanks, sir. So, basically, I would just like to know. I mean, I would just like to curate the content based on the audience also, because I would also like to understand if there are any experienced professionals already, and who are the freshers. Uh, if there are any experienced professionals, could they just write in the chat or something?
I think only me apart from
Okay, sure. I think then the roadmap, skimming through the roadmap should help. Okay, I'll just share my screen. Uh, yeah, are you able to see my screen?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, firstly, I would like to firstly thank Ankit because the first example that he has given, right, about what loads first until the LCP. This was actually being asked with my behavioral as appropriate interview with Microsoft in the last round, and I had to explain the entire thing. And I wasn't like explaining the entire thing very deeply as as much as he did, but it covered the entire thing, and it was very helpful. And if someone could explain in depth as he did, it would be very outstanding. So he would stand out. So, firstly, let me just introduce myself. I'm Akhil, and I hold around more than 3 years of experience, and my past 2.8 years of experience is with a startup, and it was on mean stack development and React Native. And I've also worked with the cloud, that is with AWS. So we could so what I would do is I'll just give out a roadmap and what is actually helpful for every individual to actually crack into a job, and what mindset is actually required to crack into product-based companies, switching from startups or the service-based companies. So let me just share, present this. I'll just go through a ideal roadmap for the main and one stack. So Firstly, the fundamentals again. The speaking of the front end development, we need to understand the HTML and CSS. But when you're trying to understand the CSS and everything, you'll have to understand few practices like mobile first design or the bots model design, or and also there are many mostly used and uh, widely used tricks in the CSS that you have to master for you to call that you are very good at front end and designing system, a front end system. So apart from that, the core web vitals that Ankit has just shared are very essential for performance. And also we have to also work with the responsive layouts and everything, and SSRs and everything. So that is just for the front end, but you also need to understand the basics, version controls. It would be very easy. You don't have to know everything. I mean, getting into the company will also people would also help with the hardest cherry picks and everything, but knowing the basic stuff would be enough. And the before jumping into the React, we need to understand JavaScript very much in detail before diving into React. Much of the people just dive into React and skip the JavaScript part because uh, in industry, right? There is this term called vendor locking, and people just don't want you to end up with vendor locking and ask you to implement in your own way. So not many libraries would help, and you'll have to work with the actual JavaScript logic along with React or along with Angular to make things work. So mastering a JavaScript is your first step, and then diving into React shouldn't be a very steep curve. And about the backend and databases, yeah, the main focus with when you consider the JavaScript, it's Node.js. In this entire presentation, I'm just focusing on the TypeScript and JavaScript. You could also switch between the stack later, but I'm just explaining based on my previous experience. So Node.js, and for the database, it's MongoDB, Redis, and everything. So when you just focus on either front end or back end, it is very important for you to understand the design concepts. Okay. So speaking of the back end, let's say MongoDB, there are many concepts to optimize your queries, sharding, replication, and many other stuff that would highly rely on your high level design concept. So how do you set things in different environments and different regions and still route based on latency or based on any compliance. So there are many factors that come into backend when you actually start getting into the industry. But for an individual, this entire roadmap is just for self development and open source contribution, and for you to stand out and make your profile stand out uh, and make you interview ready. So digging in deep with the high level concepts is necessary, but it's okay to understand things but not really implement them uh, right straight out of the box. Yeah, that's one thing to like note. So speaking of, let's say talking about React, you also need to understand the context API, readers, form validations, and everything. And the most important thing is state management. Usually, in the interviews, you would be asked questions on state management, and when they are asked to, do the machine coding rounds, you would be asked about the form validations and everything, and how to use context API and everything. So yeah, navigation. So these are the basic concepts that you have to learn, which you would actually be very good at when you start building a project. Okay, so uh, there are authentication mechanisms. So obviously, people would be asking you how JWT works and everything. You also need to understand how JWT works because that is the most commonly used. Uh, so even for a very complex system, with right now I'm seeing some millions of users, and they still created an ecosystem that relies on JWT. So even with a lot of uh, existing solutions for authentication, be it Azure Active Directories or anything, but they still stick with additional mechanism specific to the functionality that they're developing. So JWT looks simple, but you just have you should be able to say that when people ask things, and it is often asked in the interviews also. So session management, this is a different concept again, because there is stateless. Sometimes you store it in the DB. There is an expiration. There are a lot of ways for maintaining a user session in your website or web app. So you need to understand the types of mechanisms there and authentication. There is role-based access control. There is you could actually like access a resource based on API keys. There are many ways there. This is again just a level one, the basic one. About API integration and error handling, you should be good at this Axios or any fetch or anything. So what happens usually in machine coding rounds is that people would generally ask you to create your own use Axios hook or anything. So you should be able to write an API using a hook, and you should be able to leverage the other concepts and best practices of React. Learning React is fairly straightforward, but the best practices in React would actually be you would actually be mastering that as you like work in the industry. So as you work before you work in the industry, maybe just work with your projects using the best React practices. So I would give a very useful resource because we are just discussing about roadmap. I'll just mention a channel, Jack Harrington, the name. I'll just post in the chat. So it has all the best React practices that you have to follow. And once after you done with this React as a language, syntactically and the best practices, start building a project, and you'll get to know the other most commonly used practices. So about testing and deployment, usually it's not very mandatory to if people just ask you if have you done testing with React, uh, then you could just say yes or no. But people literally don't ask you to write any of them in the machine coding because it is very straightforward and very particular to the scenario, be it E2E, be it integration, be it unit tests. You just need to know the concepts and how things are written, and that should be like fairly straightforward. When you dive into the library, you will have additional like plugins and extensions when you work with the IDE for the React testing. So after you like create a project, maybe just try to introduce V-test or just Mocha anything. That is one thing. So yeah, Postman and so if you wanted to deploy for free, there are many resources out there. But if you're planning to if your deployment is your first target, and if you're only focused on making the backend work more and not the front end, there are many options out there. So you could straight away go with most commonly this time it's actually shared CN UI that is actually being used very much in the front end, and it would take no time for you to, if you have already mastered React, maybe you could just open up an SJS project and deploy to Vercel. And building front end is very easy with you don't have to spend much time if you're going with shared CN UI. And v0.dev, that's a place where you can literally prompt your entire code. So if you're trying to build a full stack and your focus is on the back end, and you don't want to spend much time on the front end after you've mastered everything, then go with the solutions out there. Yeah, you could use the AI also. So that is my suggestion, which I would also follow. And level two is containerization and creating pipelines and deploying things. Surely, if you went with the Vercel, you don't need to do much. But if you are trying to make a React project, let's say, and you wanted to Dockerize, and then you know the best how do I say, the first um, uh, CI/CD that you could look for is like GitHub Actions. So it is fairly very easy to understand, and it will help you grasp the concepts easily about CI/CD. And it is a beginner one. I mean, it would be very helpful for you to understand CI/CD as a whole. And like Ankit also like explained about the optimizations, right? About lazy loading the images and memoization, the suspense fallbacks and everything, code splitting. And so this is particular to uh, any front end. So, but when you come to the mobile, which I'll discuss later, this optimization is your key performance indicator. You have to some way optimize. You'll be forced to optimize when you start developing with React Native, because on the browser it is you could uh, it is okay if sometimes it is not way too much optimized based on timeline, but in industry, when you go with React Native, then a lot of things will come in. Okay, so there are, if let's say previously I've worked with this startup, and it was an in-house product, and memoization, lazy loading was not their primary, because it is not being made publicly available. It is for the very 200 engineers, on-site construction engineers, and the in charges people who use this. So for them, the functionality is the main key aspect, and they even there was no particular timeline for optimization, and there is no particular work stream for optimization, because that is not their use. Because ultimately, people wanted things to work. So it is all based on the priority. But even for them, when it comes to the mobile with React Native, optimization was the key factor that helped the business made continue that work stream. Okay, so yeah, optimizations are a good concepts to know. Obviously, they will be used like in the real time with the Flipkart, as Ankit mentioned. Uh, yeah, so about application development, right? There are plenty of options to for you to get started with, but just whenever you develop things with full stack, do not just focus on the front end. The front end, if you wanted to focus only on the front end, make very complex things. Like you can create a Miro board, you can create an infinite canvas, you can create uh, a visualizer of the DSO concept. Maybe that could be helpful. But when you're trying to create something like an e-commerce website, the primary focus should be on the core web vitals, and not how things are loading, how things are being displayed in the UI only. If you wanted to focus more on the UI, spend some time there. If you wanted to focus more on the performance, spend the time there. But usually, when people try to develop some, let's say, real-time data, the whole functionality there is about the web sockets and about the sockets, and people spend time start investing time in building a beautiful front end. Usually, because the reason why I'm mentioning this is the time factor. You could build multiple projects focusing on particular concepts. Instead of this, if you're trying to make any hero project and spend all your time there, maybe your GitHub like looks green, but you also need to some way show others uh, who wanted to shortlist or refer you. uh, you'll have to be sometimes very smart in making people understand that the whole concept of making the project is to understand the concept. Okay, if you pick on any hero project and work with that for like months, then what if it doesn't complete, and it would still be a one repo, obviously. So if you have to like add more and more concept wise when you're trying to open source your project. Why the reason why I'm mentioning this is because there was an example, such an incident happened with me. So let's not spend much time in like building something. Okay, it has to be very quick. So let's say it wanted to develop this very real-time chat app. You develop on the backend very complex. I mean, in the way you want. For the front end, you could go with the AI. You could use Visual.dev or anything. If you're already good at front end, then it's okay. It would take very less time. So understand how do you leverage AI to build things, and also understanding the concepts. So that was a very important thing. Uh, uh, okay. So mean stack is not very much different. Language wise, you need to understand the components, directives, pipes, and everything. I think the roadmap is anyway similar, but the learning curve is a little bit different with Angular. One noteworthy thing I wanted to mention is there is this concept called uh, okay. Okay, I'll just give an example for that at the end. Yeah, so this concept called memory leaking, and this concept is actually part of the uh, performance optimization. And the way we do it is actually the library of framework specific. So if you wanted to avoid memory leaks, that is a separate way. When you work with plain JavaScript, when you work with React, it is something different. When you work with Angular, it's something different. So this is in industry, people actually focus on this also. It is very essential because it would just simply crash the entire page when you're working with it. Um, and so let me just skip to the other one. Speaking of Angular, so you need to understand the interceptors, route guards, and everything. These are all the like Angular concepts. One thing is the state management. The state management here is different from the obviously the state management from React. The state management in Angular is quite a bit very it's a little bit harder when you compare it with Redux. Uh, so it takes some time for you to understand the state management, and you don't have to focus much on entire RSGS, but the most commonly used RSGS patterns and how they work is very essential to understand this observer subscriber pattern, because this would be also asked in the interviews. It is very essential if you're trying to focus with Angular. Uh, yeah, I just want to skip that. Level 2 is exactly the same. You need to understand the CI/CD. I just pasted that here. Yeah, so code splitting and everything is also different with the React and Angular, but the concept remains the same. Yeah. So I wanted to also mention, because I have also worked with React Native. Uh, Syntactically and everything, it is almost similar to. It is anyway similar to React, but the usage of the APIs, the routing and everything, because the entire concept here is that for mobile, it's the screens, the stack, and everything. The routing in the browser is again entirely different with browser routers, and the protection of the routes there and here is a little bit different. And the storage, the local storage, and everything on the web is different from on a persistent or non-persistent storage, and how you manage the state in the web is different from how you manage that in the React Native app. So these are the basic differences when it comes to the language. But speaking of design, because there is no CSS, even if you're very good at CSS, sometimes you can't even literally use that in the React Native. The reason being, in React Native, the thing is, by default, everything will be considered as a display flash. Okay, so explicitly you have to mention that in the React for the web, but for React Native, it is like straight. It is by implicit. So uh, the way we also develop the UI in the React Native is kind of restricted, because the tricks that we used in the web can't be directly used because there is no like all those CSS wouldn't be supported. Only a few of them would be supported. But much of them, most commonly used, will anyway be supported with React Native. That is one difference. And yeah, if you're good with React, you can dive into the React Native. So one thing with the tooling, about the tooling and how do you run and debug the code with React Native. Um, so this there is something called there is a site called expo.dev, and where you actually build your artifacts and publish to Play Store or App Store later on. And there is something called EAS kind. Of course, this would be changed very frequently. So right now, I think the SDK, Expo SDK that people are using is around 50, I think, and it would be changed very frequently. No matter the changes in Expo, uh, it, uh, it is good to know how Expo works and how your Expo CLI would be helpful to create apps. Of course, these won't be like directly. No, there can be separate teams who will work on this, but it is worth noting that you need to understand how Expo builds work. So sometimes when you're trying to directly debug your code with hot module reload or something, uh, some functionalities would only be work with the Expo client. I mean, of course, the creation of the artifacts. So that is one thing that you would understand after working much with the React Native. And React coming to React Native, the UI wise, it is quite complex because I've worked with a lot of UI intensive tasks on React Native because you might have heard about these React Native gesture handlers, reanimated 3, Skia. So even to render SVGs, it would be very complex. And sometimes we are forced to use web views in the React Native app because sometimes you know a feature won't be available, the libraries also won't be available, and you might even need to like work with the finger touch to pan and zoom things. So it's quite complex when it comes to building UI intent tasks with React Native. Uh, but usually, if it is very complex, the companies would like move to switch to other libraries or frameworks. Um, this is all because of the concept of vendor locking. People ask you to develop things on your own because of the vendor locking, and I've been part of that. So yeah, let's not take much time in understanding the concepts in this because it's almost similar to React. Uh, should I just go to the AWS or maybe just explain how you could leverage your resources on to make your profile stand out? I think that would be very helpful based on the time. What do you say, Tarun?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that's would be a good idea.
yeah, sure. Can I just okay? Yeah, I was talking about the you know best React practices, right? You see my screen, right? Hello.
Yes, yes, I gone.
Okay. Okay. So about the React practices, you could follow this particular channel, Jack Harrington. If you wanted to, let's say, develop UI intensive tasks, you could go with Code with Antonio. There is a channel for this, and there is a next level for this also, which is Web Prodigies. And these are like full stack applications, front end focused. Web Prodigies is has a lot of projects that are like full stack, and you can actually like create SaaS products out of them. If you wanted to understand in learning, understand in building, and how to organize your code and everything, these are the good places to go. I'd recommend starting off with Code with Antonio. The videos would be large, very long, but it will be like very helpful. Uh, be it integration, be it webhooks, there are a lot many concepts that come into this. just follow the path and try to code as they explain things, and it will be very helpful. I personally followed this one to create uh, it's a very good project. It's more like a Miro clone that they have mentioned, but it's with additional concepts and it is very UI intensive. Uh, I would say maybe that actually helped me like shortlist my profile because I spent a lot of time there also. Um, so when you're talking about backend heavy applications, you can make projects that would actually help you to understand how the most commonly used things work. You could build Redis from scratch. You could create your own interpreter. Okay, you can create your own DNS server. So these sort of things would actually be these are like outstanding project. These projects stand out from the others usually because uh, they're not like a CRUD operations, straightforward CRUD operations also. So having this on your resume would actually be very helpful when it comes to backend projects. And I could give this. There's a site called Free for Dev. So this entire site is a list of curated, not the entire list of what you of free quota plans and free resources. You could go with any of the system here. Let's say you wanted to build anything very quickly and you wanted some storage. You could go with CMS, headless CMS, some CSV if you wanted to for monitoring. Okay, so many solutions are directly available, out of which you can leverage all of this to complete your projects very quickly. But I would advise anyone to actually build one project with mean or one only with that stack. So if you wanted to add if you wanted to go for uh, you know some other third party, maybe try to integrate that into your own code base. Let's say some there is this clerk user management, okay, or in AWS you have cognitive. You could implement the same logic within your app. Even that is possible. But in order to use them, maybe first try it out yourself with your very basic JWT and try to complete a project on your own. Once you made an entire project with mean or one, then you could go with you could leverage AI, you could leverage other tools, third party services and everything. And, you know, it would be very quick for you to complete the things. So these are about the resources. Um, yeah. So about whatever I could stop sharing here, but okay. So firstly, did anyone of you have any questions related to the presentation? I know I just went very quickly, skimmed through things, but does someone have any question?
I think it was very well understandable and to the point. Whatever you wanted to share,
Yeah.
also able to understand the gaps which required to go from A to B, like from startup to Microsoft, etc. Because sometimes what happen, people think we know so many things, right? But once they see the clear picture, what all they don't know to reach here, so it becomes very easy what you have, I think, show to people. However, people are like Jay, Nilya, Chandani, Chanakya, Abhi may know better. But what I got from your presentation, I think it was nice.
Yeah. So one one last thing that I wanted to mention, I did not really properly cover the switch at all, but so usually this is more on the resume optimization and how you actually pass this resume to the proper sources. So people will generally know about the LinkedIn connections and all, but usually offline connections and everything would properly work. And how you cold mail things to the actual right people would be very helpful in cracking into the companies. So I would just say it's not demeaning thing, but my company, if I just search, if it's been looked up with um, some recruiter in a good MNC, it might not even be showing up. So for them, the shortlisting process would be very difficult. And usually when the task is given to, like, in this happens out there, so recruiters usually poach from the relevant MNCs out there. MNCs try to gather from MNCs, and when you're trying to switch from startup, I had lot many offers from startup. So the service to service, startup, because this is a culture match. This is a working model match, and that is the priority that would be like, that is the first priority of the recruiters, and that is the number one bucket list. So what you could what we can do is that we can pitch ourselves either with these projects, or either with this depends on the company. Let's say we go for Microsoft. We have to, like, convert this resume uh, into how all your work made how much impact, because impact is their focus. And like, I've been in 4 months, and I could see the change in the culture here. So everything would be running at a different pace, and no matter what they build, the core principle of thriving and trying to develop things uh, that create impact is actually what matters. Meaning, it doesn't matter how big of a project that you could take up of async, but what actually, even if you create a very if you work with very few deliverables and able to create much impact, let's say you are reducing the cost of the resources in the Azure, let's say. So these sort of things would actually be very these would have large impacts. So speaking of MNCs, their core principles is their first priority. So your resume shortlisting would be happening on them. You have to create on impact for Microsoft. Customer obsession, modify your resume based on customer obsession for the Amazon. For the Google, it's more on technical. Your coding skills should be standing out anyway, and how your work helped others. But let's coming to so Uber, it's more on the system designs on how you have done things. So it really works it fits well when you're trying to apply for companies and modify your resume based on their principles. Okay, because if you also try to talk with some LinkedIn person who works in the company and tries to uh, make sure your resume moves to the hiring manager also. The feedback loop generally goes like, you move from hiring manager to the recruiter. These messages will be between them, and recruiters, they can or cannot share you the feedback on your resume. Or from my observations with a lot of companies that I've applied to, based on the feedback that they have given, the feedback relied mostly on the principles. And so modifying your resume on that was the key aspect there, and that helped me get into Microsoft here. So yeah, so usually also the other criterion is that you don't if you wanted to get into MNCs, maybe try reaching out to recruiters directly. Okay, and if you see any post on the managers posting on the LinkedIn, just go ahead, take that step, take that, message them on the LinkedIn, pitch yourself, give out all your projects. It's very good to have a portfolio. Uh, Working portfolio. Right now, my portfolio doesn't work. I don't pay for it. So, yeah. So having a portfolio is very important, because when I was reaching out for referrals, I used to type a lot. And I was wondering about every single line that I'm writing there. But right now, when I'm getting messages of referrals, I'm just skimming through. So, so it just depends. The pace, the mindset, mood, and everything depends based on your daily work, and everything. And you just get some time, right? So you have to pitch yourself there. And if this is our normal state, think of recruiters, they have a lot of, hundreds or thousands of applications. So the way we directly pitch would actually determine our chances of getting into the companies. Yeah, so just don't be. There is also this thing called cycles of hiring that varies from company to company.
Also,
Maybe,
just
yeah,
would like to add one point here. What Sai was saying, he was saying, no doubt is very good things. Just sometime what happen in this process, people look desperate. So don't, commit that mistake. Reach out to people in a way, just show your work, whatever you are doing, right? But do not look desperate, because otherwise, it will go in negative directions. Yeah, gone. Sai, I think if correct.
yeah, that is the elevator pitch. Yeah. So you be it message, be it anything, learn this elevator pitch. So you have to like shouldn't look desperate. You have to say that hey, have built these things. I have impacted this many number of people. You could say this. You don't have to step back and think I haven't worked with a lot of user base. No, people who are working with large user base did not actually create that user base, right? You're just working in an ecosystem. You're part of an ecosystem, so you'd be having a lot of points to put on your resume. But if you're working with smaller things, it's good. You just need to know the concepts there. Even right now, uh, people with a lot of experience around it would be actually dealing with something related to architecture in large MNCs. But the other ones, the new engineers for SD2s, would be actually not working with them a lot. There's, yeah. So that is the concept. But think of it, when you're working with a startup, you deal with a lot of things. You deal with the user base, you deal with CI/CD, you deal with everything. You deal in delivering everything sparsely. So you are well deserved. You are well deserved to apply. You are well deserved to pitch yourself. Be confident. Just be confident. That's one thing. And about cycles that I was talking about, uh, it is okay. It is a constant effort that you have to put. You have to constantly ask for referrals and keep on applying. Maybe your profile might not be shortlisted in that quarter because at MNCs things won't be in weeks. Things would be in quarters, half quarter, and year. Okay, so yeah, I just take my example. My ramp up, the time I needed for ramp up is like few months, and people just give it out. It's okay, you're ramping. It is okay at MNCs. But it's not the case with service-based or startups, right? You are forced to, pick up fast. You're forced to do things. I don't mean forced, but that is the timeline that they're following. So because things are working at a different pace, just don't get demotivated because you have applied with a referral and it's not getting shortlisted. Just don't get demotivated. Things work at a different pace then. Okay. So for me, personally, for the Amazon interview, that was, I think, I have applied in the previous years 6 months with referrals, with a friend, with constant referrals, and profile got shortlisted for the next year in the January. So no matter when you apply things, the pace at things work would be decided by them. So you can't. But there would be sometimes there would be few slots when people leave the company, right? And at that point in time, that position is very particular to expertise. Let's say Android engineer expertise, iOS developer expertise. So these would be actually posted. Uh, there won't be any generic profiles, job listings in the portals. They would be mentioned, but you might have not said job alert or something. Things could happen, but usually there would when there is an interleaving in the companies, there would be uh, postings by the managers. And there's an urgent hiring happening, and we are hiring for two positions or one position. They are the golden ticket to literally get into the companies. And it would be very tough. It would be very competitive. But I also feel those posts never had more than 10 likes. Okay, so yeah, there would be heavy number of applications, but there are the chances of getting a referral and going into that. that path would be very, the probability of success is high.
No doubt, no doubt. I
Yeah,
know sometimes company there is only one position, right? And the
yeah,
reference number of resumes are really, really high. It's very difficult for, people to get selected, especially when AI is into the picture, and the layoffs are happening a lot. In difficult time, like what you said, it's things will come at a different pace.
yeah,
Time it's not mandatory. You will apply for referral and you will get
yeah,
the better.
yeah. Yeah. So the interleaving jobs would, like, interleaving positions would be usually filled within weeks or maximum a month in MNCs. So it is possible that they will be closed very soon, but you have to pitch yourself. Whenever you get a chance, you pitch yourself. That's it. These are a few inputs that I could give. Uh, Basically, that was the reason. I literally wrote both Amazon and Microsoft on the same day with online assessment. So that is the number of chances that I've got doing this.
Perfect.
Yeah. So any questions, any more doubts that anybody has, participants?
Okay, it was nice.
Hands away.
Yeah, we go on. Yes, I know it was very nice insights what you had shared. And perfect. I think for other people references also, what I'll do is, if you permit, I'll just upload this video as well for Flipkart, from Ankit from Flipkart, and you Microsoft will on YouTube as well. If who could not join here, they can also see the recordings, and you can also share your profile. I think I'll already have if they want to have one-on-one session with you directly, right? So they can get the proper roadmap through a proper guidance. So I think you can share with them as well.
Yeah, sure.
Because what I can see now also, what I can observe as well, because sometimes, once you give webinars, once you share your thoughts, then people know how knowledgeable he is, how exactly how he reached to Microsoft. It's not like you're like he jumped directly from, company to Microsoft. The path which they have covered, right? The ups and downs they have seen, the knowledge in the during this phase, the day and nights they have spent to get those knowledge. So it's never easy, right? Especially with the right guidance. It's not whatever you do, it's not work. It's also important what to work. Correct, it's not you. Some people, just they keep on doing any random thing and they think, if I am not getting selected, why I'm not getting knowledge. But after also teaching myself, I have seen that the value of expertise comes into the picture because they prepare a good roadmap for you because they have already seen. So they save your time. Instead of you running on so many things, they just tell you, what to do so that you can reach directly here. Instead of you just roaming here or there, just follow the path and that's it. It's that easy. But people, don't understand sometimes the value of expertise. Who knows? They reach there with ease. So yes, I think I'll share your profile also, CrakCode profile, so people can reach directly with you as well for the one-on-one guidance and help them to reach where you struggle a lot. Like I am also doing the same thing where I struggle a lot to reach a path. I am also helping people to reach there in short time. So I think you are also doing a good job. So thanks again for sharing, this knowledge with this. Perfect. I think we are already out of time. It's already 11:43 as well.
Yeah.
So let me stop the recording.